pissed off today. I tell you why. I see all this bullshit in the right-wing press, basically most of the press, which people see all day, about refugee camps in northern France, you know, migrants, scroungers, demonising them in these news stories. People living in plastic tents. I don't think they want to live in plastic tents. Do you want to leave your home and your family, leave your village or your town, your city, to go and live in a plastic tent in a foreign country? I don't think so. I don't think any human wants to do that. I take a look at the facts. Go on the UN website. Pretty conclusive. The facts. 70% of these people living in refugee camps are from Afghanistan. Okay, so what did we do in Afghanistan? We spent $4 trillion destroying the country, taking a war there. Why is that? I don't even know why. A made-up reason, something to do with Bin Laden. Bin Laden, who formed the Mujahideen, his terrorist group in the 1980s, which the US and Britain funded. They funded his organisation to fight the Russians. You read it in old news stories, it's pretty easy to find. He was lauded there as a great man, for freedom fighter, coined the word mujahideen, which is an Arabic word. It just means in a struggle. It's actually got nothing to do with the war or fighting or blowing people up. Just a word that, again, the press take on and change the meaning of it. So, anyway, we went back to Afghanistan. They needed democracy, apparently, so we completely fucking obliterated their country. Spent $4 trillion, so people like Dick Cheney and his cronies at Halliburton could build pipelines through their country, take their natural resources, and then in the process destabilize it and murder half the people in the country. And then, as the saying goes, the chicken comes home to roost. So then, successive years later, people flee the country. Obviously, terrorism's gone up in that country because it's completely destabilized. There's a massive flow of weapons, Western weapons in the country, and so they're fleeing. They're fleeing to the footsteps of our nations. And then what do? We subject them again to like this terrible treatment. We make them live in plastic tents. We run news story, call them scroungers, treating them as subhumans, and just generally demonizing them and just calling immigrants. These are people. They don't want to leave their country. They're human beings, and no one wants to flee their country and go 2,000 miles to live in a plastic tent in cold northern France. No one wants that. And then you get these fucking dickheads at the thing like Britain first, or all these right-wing UKIP, all this bullshit, and they love talking about how we're a Christian nation. Okay, so if you're a Christian nation, you'll know that, like the Bible and Jesus says, love your neighbour. You'll know the story of the Good Samaritan, where he helps out someone in need, someone out of his circle who wouldn't usually help, goes out of his way to help him. So, if you're one of these right-wingers and you're talking about your Christian values in your Christian country, well, put your money where your mouth is. Be a Christian. Help your neighbour. Love your neighbour. Help people in need, See them as your brother. And not as, not as some sort of savage who's come to, like, steal your country off you, It's complete contrived rubbish from these trash hole media. People like the Daily Express, who are owned by Viacom, who also own Fox News, peddling the right-wing agenda again. Most of these immigrants that are coming from the Middle East, we've got to remember, we destroyed their country. We went to 2 wars, both illegal, not sanctioned by the UN, didn't follow any official protocol, illegally invaded. In Iraq, we killed 10 million people. And these aren't just savages, what they portray them to be in paper. These are human beings. They live lives like you. They go to work every day. They have wives, they have daughters, they have family. And we have to give them democracy. And Western democracy apparently comes in the form of me dropping a cruise missile on your house and killing your family, And then when they flee to us, because the democracy led to their village being destroyed because we dropped a fucking drone on it, we crucify them again. You're not good enough, you're some sort of subhuman. we don't want you in our country, there's not space for you here. Well, maybe if you want to stop, one, extremists, and two, cut down on immigration, stop invading people's countries, stop dropping bombs on it. But it doesn't stop there, does it? Because then Syria, what happened in Syria? We wanted to bomb Syria. Okay, that got voted out. So what else do? They just supply the moderate rebels with weapons, so they can go and massacre villages and force people out of the country again. And Syria used to take a huge amount of migrants from the Middle East area. Well, obviously not now, because we're playing our role again in destroying another country, and the cycle just follows. What people don't tell you, and what should be remembered, is that countries like America and England, they rely on a perpetual state of warfare to make money. Dick Cheney, for example, he was the head of CEO for Halliburton. They get contracts, they got exclusive rights to Iraq to rebuild the country. So you go in, you start a war, you sell the arms, which is great because most people on the government also have massive shares and stakes in arms company. John Major, he was a CEO, Lockheed and Martin, I think. So war's great, for these people. They can sell all their weapons. Then they can go in and the Western companies as well, which they're involved in, can take control of the natural resources, whatever they be, and then they can benefit from that. And then they can benefit from the rebuilding contracts. So, people, this will never be told to you in mainstream press, but these politicians, a large amount of the ones on the right, they love war. But not in their country, obviously. They don't want anyone, their family being blown up or fucking bombed. But in lesser countries, as we like to portray them, a perpetual state of warfare is great for business, for oil, for reconstruction, and for arms sales. And this just continues, and then we just continue to demonize these people, and then extremist groups pop up on both sides. We got extremist groups in England. I'm not talking about extreme Muslim groups. I'm talking about your average fucking St. George's flag waving honky who goes around shouting at Muslims because he thinks they're coming here to do something terrible or some bullshit like that. People have got to wake up, really, You got to realise that we're the one people, They're human beings. And you got to just sort of start treating human beings with a little bit more respect and dignity, No one wants to forcibly leave their country. These men, proud men from their country, they've got women, wives and children and all this kind of thing. And, yeah. That's basically my point, really. I've been having a rant about this all night. Pretty furious about it because there's been a lot in the paper. I try to avoid them, but if I walk into a shop to get a coffee, this bullshit's put in front of me. So I just felt like I should say something about it and try and explain that, the facts behind this, that it's not how the media wants you to read it. Bullshit like the Daily Mail or Fox News or Daily Express. That's not the full picture. That's objective news. When you see something in the media, it's not for your goodness that they want to tell you something. It's objective. They show you it for a reason. They show you it to put their point of view across or to try and sell you something. Media is not free. Media is propaganda, It's the same seven-headed dragon. They're showing you it for a reason. So maybe when you see this stuff, dig a little bit deeper. Do some research for yourself and actually find out the truth before you demonize your fellow human being, because that's too fucked up. Anyway, peace.